Hey guys, here we're going to be doing a test drive of my 2006 Chevy Silverado 1500. Another video with my GoPro camera. This is a 4.8 liter V8. And by the way, it just rolled 81,000 miles. And also I got a full tank of gas. So let's go ahead and put my seatbelt on. Alright, let's go. And open my gate here. First off, when driving this thing, it actually drives pretty good. It's actually a pretty quiet cab inside, despite the fact this truck is now 10 years old. And this truck is the LS trim, so it does come moderately loaded, but however, this particular one doesn't have all the power features on the seat. This one has a black cloth interior, but it's all manually adjusted. And also, as you can see right here, it does have a full length bench seat up front. But these seats are actually quite comfortable. And they're also in pretty good condition. When I bought the truck, it actually had 74,000 miles, and all these miles are actually highway miles because an older woman owned this truck and she never drove it that much. So it's a great bonus for me. I get an older truck that I love so much and it has low mileage. I've grown up a lot around this body style of Chevy and GMC trucks. My dad used to have an 01, or I still keep thinking if it was an 01 or a 2000 Chevy Silverado, and that was great. And he also had two Avalanches, one a Z66 and the other a Z71. And then he had a 2004 Silverado 1500 that looks just like this one, except his was that Arrival blue color, which is probably my favorite colors in all the Silverado lineup. You can also get it on the Avalanche, but those colors are starting to become very, very hard to find on the Silverado and Avalanche. I've seen very little. But this is a fairly comfortable riding truck as well. The steering wheel is not leather wrapped, so it's just vinyl wrapped. But one thing I did that I thought was pretty nice, well, actually the steering wheel started having some discoloration. It also was getting worn out on the top, typical for where your hand always rested. So I put this steering wheel cover on, which was actually in my 96 Chevy Blazer when that car was passed down to my brother. and he didn't want the steering wheel cover, so I was in the market for a cover, and great news is he gave that thing to me. And also when I got the truck, there were a few cosmetic nicks wrong with the truck. I mean, for starters, if you look at the key fob, this is actually a brand new key fob case. Still has the original circuit board. Was a cheap 15 bucks at AutoZone. And this key I'm actually using for the truck was actually one of the 2 spare keys that this truck actually came with. I just started using this because the key blade's a lot newer, and the old key was getting kind of worn out, so I use this as my main key now, mainly to give it that feel like it's a brand new truck. But anyway, being an LS, this is a bit step up from the base model. At least this has all power windows and power door locks. At least that fits on my criteria. And also, the steering wheel, like I said, is all basic. These spokes right here are blanks where radio controls would have gone if you opt for the LT model. I think they even come in some higher trim LS's, but I haven't seen that many. And right here is just your basic radio. It's very simple. This blank right here is where a tape player would go on the older trucks, but it has a single disc CD player. But it actually has a pretty nice sound. One nice interesting fact, the Bose system the Bose speakers that this truck originally came with were going on the fritz when I got it, so I had to replace it with some JVC speakers, and now it has a very nice sound. And still having the stock radio, and you do have a nice factory look, which I'm really a huge fan of in these Chevys. Anyway, now we're fixing to pull out here on the road. I'm going to give you a little acceleration clip. It's a very nice sounding engine. Like I said, this is a 4.8 liter V8, so it doesn't have as much horsepower as the 5.3 liter V8, but this is an average engine. It's definitely more fuel efficient than the 5.3. Which a lot of people are not that I've seen are not that much a fan of the 4.8 compared to the 5.3, but I still at least got some V8 power, which I'm a really big fan of. I didn't want to get a truck with a 4.3 liter V6 because that motor was so underpowered for those trucks. But it actually rides pretty smooth. And this engine is coupled to a 4L60E 4-speed automatic transmission with electronic overdrive. This is a very reliable transmission. I've seen these trans were actually used in various Chevy trucks and even the Camaro and Corvette. I believe this trans was introduced in the mid-90s to replace the outgoing 700R4 unit, which the 700R4 was a good transmission, but one advantage that the 4L60E has from the 700R4 is that the 4L60E is electronically controlled, which you can electrically control the shift timings of the transmission. The 700R4 was all mechanical. At least that transmission was new enough to have an overdrive gear, but that was all mechanically shifted. And also down here is your climate control. Right there's your fan speed. temperature. I love the fact that this is actually an LS, but you do have a tri-way climate control, which is very nice. So the passenger can have their own temperature, and the driver can have their own temperature, which I really like. Or my passengers do, that is. And one thing I do like about these Silverados, despite the fact that I like them because they were my childhood trucks, or this particular body style, that is, the GMT 800, even the earlier GMT 400s were my other childhood Chevys. But I like the GMT 800s because the dash actually curves outwards. Gives you a nice cockpit style look, which I really like. I mean, you can easily reach in to get your climate control or your radio. Well, it's because I have a long reach for someone who's 6'5". Depending on how tall you are, you might have to lean in just a touch. But anyway, this being the bench seat model, as your basic underside of the dash right here, just your 2 power outlets and center storage down there. Also, you do have an ashtray down here. You also have 2 cup holders down here. And your cruise control is located right on the turn signal stalk. Very typical on these trucks. Well, they actually started doing away with the turn signal stalk cruise control in mid-2007 when they redesigned the Silverados, Tahoes, Suburbans, Avalanches, all that stuff. This is a very nice truck. I'm very excited to be able to own it. So, I'll go ahead and end this video right now. I don't want to bore you with my long test drive video, so hope you all enjoyed the test drive of the 2006 Chevy Silverado 1500. Please like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.